Previously on the podcast.
Well, Miles hasn't had the guts to ask out his date for the homecoming dance. His team watched some videos, a replay of their last game when they won 45-3. He sold a mattress to a good-looking girl that he couldn't really talk to. He had his picture in the newspaper of him catching an interception when he caught the ball for a touchdown. He phoned his uncle to ask him about his ancestors, where they came from, and why.
Should not pull Lance Armstrong and just ruin his life.
He should not be living strong.
You're listening to the podcast, brought to you by Mark's Never Iron Perfectly Pressed Shirts.
We're back. That's right, we're back for episode 2 of the podcast. We welcome back Anthony Emmett, Kyle Franson, and Mark Lavelle, and I'm your host, Dane Frizzell. That was one of the best intros I've ever heard. If you didn't recognize the song, that's the Monday Night Football theme song. We're live in New Orleans today, covering the 2013 Super Bowl. As this is a football-related book, we decided to spice things up a bit this week as the 47th Super Bowl will commence on Sunday as the 49ers take on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, as another week of reading, connecting, and discussion, we're back for another week of fun. We want to start off this week's podcast by hearing everybody's summaries. Mr. Anthony Emmett, would you like to start us off with your summary for this week?
Well, it starts off in the class when they are handing out their assignment from last class. Miles forgot to do his homework, but he gets the answer from Strangler. Strangler tells him that the answer is Indians because they were already here. And Miles' mom found the pills in Zach's pants, flushed them down the toilet, and she was mad. She threatens to tell his dad, but she doesn't. At dinner, they discuss about Jonesy being out for the season, and Miles finally has the courage to ask out Kyra, but he gets shut down. The news spreads fast, and Zach talks to him about it on the bus. He is right. You won't know if you don't ask. Today they are playing the Clifton Pirates. At half, they are winning 21-0. But something tragic happens, and their new quarterback is injured, so they are forced to turn to Fox.
Right. Well done, Anthony. Sounds very professional, and you seem to know what's going on in the book so far. Mr. Mark Lavelle, would you like to tell us your summary, and if there's any differences, we'd like to know.
But let's start off in the classroom by laying papers back about their ancestors. And Miles and Zach, their quarterback gets hurt, and they bring him Twinkies over to his house, and he's still thinking about the team. And Miles says that's what makes him a great leader for the football team. Miles' mom finds the caffeine pills in his pockets and talks to him about it, and she gets really mad, flushes him down the toilet, and she tells Miles that she's not going to tell her dad, and she threatened, and yeah, Miles asks out Kyra for homecoming and gets denied and gets really embarrassed around his friends. Miles takes the caffeine pills before the next game and plays really good.
Now, lastly, Kyle Franson, could you add what you have different and anything else?
Well, I had it first. They're at tryouts for a new quarterback, and Fox didn't get it. The new guy got it.
All right. So everybody seems to know where we're at in the book right now. That's I guess that's pretty good. So we're going to start off with our jobs. Mr. Mark Lavelle is our connector. Anthony Emmett's our word wizard, and Kyle's our travel tracer. So Kyle, would you like to start us off with your travel tracing for the week?
So I had the action starts in class. I'm talking about immigration. Then they go to practice for tryouts for a QB. After that, they go to Jones's house to see how he's doing and give him some Twinkies. And then it's the next day of the game. Miles finally asks out Kyra the dance, and she rejects him because she's already going with someone else. Then they're in the locker room before the game. Zach and Miles take that energy pill. Then it gets to the game. First play, Miles sacks the quarterback and gets a fumble. And it was 21-0 after the half. That's where it ends.
Amazing job as usual, Kyle. Mr. Mark Lavelle, our connector, please connect what you have for this past week, and please give us some personal stories.
Text to world connection is when Miles takes the caffeine pills. That's like when Lance Armstrong took steroids to improve his biking skills so he could ride Tour de France several times.
My God, I never felt like it was that tough.
A text itself is Miles likes to hit football players, and I like to hit people in hockey while we play. Another text itself is when their starting quarterback gets hurt, when they have to put in their backup. That's when my starting goalie got hurt on my team, and we had to put our backup goalie.
Lastly, Anthony Emmett is our word wizard. What words, magical words, do you get for us this week, Anthony?
Well, I only found 3 words challenging to read, and they were pursuit, sight, and stimulant. Pursuit is an effort to secure or attain, for example, the pursuit of happiness. Sight is to intimidate or frighten, psychology or make nervous, often followed by out. For example, to psych out the competition. And stimulant is something that temporarily quickens some vital process or the functional activity of some organ or part. And pursuit was on page 57, paragraph 1. Psych was page 56, paragraph 4. And stimulant was page 46, paragraph 4.
Right, Anthony. Well done on the words. As usual, you always do a great job on that. We have questions about the book now. We're going to start off with Anthony Emmett. What questions do you have for the book so far, Anthony?
Well, I was wondering, why didn't they give Fox a chance in game and not just in practice? And where is Zach getting these pills from? And will Kyra go with Miles now that the guy she was going with is injured?
Okay. We need to go to Mark now. Mr. Mark Bell, do you have any answers for those possibly? Because sometimes you read things differently and you take things in a different perspective. Do you have any answers for Anthony's questions?
Yeah, Zach's probably getting the pills from his older brother if he has one, because his older brother probably takes them. And then that's all I got so far for the answers.
Mark LaBelle, would you like to read us your questions for the book so far?
Who is Kyra going out with when Miles got turned down? And I had the same question as Anthony about the pills, and that's it.
Awesome. Kyle, do you have any answers for Mark's questions?
I think Kyra's going out with the new quarterback, I don't know what his name is, but
We'll figure that out.
yeah.
Awesome.
It's Stillwell.
Stillwell's the name. Kyle's questions regarding this book.
I said one to Anthony with, why didn't he start why didn't Fox get the start as a QB in the first game?
All right. Well, personally, I believe that he ought to start because he wasn't a skilled athlete enough. Obviously, they wanted to play their number one guy. As you go back to the Lions this year, when Travis Lulay was injured, they went back to their backup, and he played very well. But when Lulay came back, they put in Lulay.
Short drop, pressure on, Lulay scrambles to the corner, touchdown!
So it's injuries and it's money also. In real life, it would be money and contract and salaries. We have a very interesting topic to discuss this week. Last night I emailed the author, and he actually responded. So here's what he had to say. Dane, I am glad to hear your group is reading my book, CRACKBACK. I enjoyed the podcast, thought it was very well done. Well, thank you, John. I wrote CRACKBACK. This is him talking. I wrote CRACKBACK because football is one of the most intense experiences I had in high school, and I don't think we've got enough good football books. I also had some really good coaches and one really bad one, and I wanted to explore differences since coaches had much power over their teams. He's referring to Coach Stahl at this point. I wanted to explore the differences since coaches had so much power over their teams. He's referring to Coach Stahl at this point, as we know from the book. He's sort of a hard ass in the book. Anthony, do you have anything to add to that, as you do know Coach Stahl is sort of a hard on his teams?
Well, he's a good coach. He knows what he's talking about, and Miles should listen to him. He knows about football.
Awesome. Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, Coach Stahl's just trying to get the best out of their players so they can perform the best and be the best.
Amazing. Kyle Franzen, lastly, anything to add to those two statements?
Yeah, just everyone respect them, and it'll be better if you do.
That's great. Mr. Coy had a couple of questions for us. Since we're a big sporting school, what is our mascot here at the school? Does anybody know?
The Viking.
Well, the Marauder, to be
Come on,
professional.
Mark.
But yeah, we have the Marauder. And does anybody know how that was chosen? Was that Rich
No.
Goulet's idea?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. I'll get back to you on that one, John. You'll find a couple of other guys in the book who'll be talking about mascots as we further read CRACKBACK. And I've got a brand new picture of the book of this famous Canadian. The cover is below. We'll make that picture the picture for the podcast when we post this on YouTube. John, so we'll be able to do a little publicizing for you. And he ends it off with, "Cheers, John." So we'd like to thank the author for writing us back this week. We really appreciate it, and hopefully stay in contact as we read the book. I'm really enjoying this book so far, just to take a break from all the written stuff. But I just want to go around the group and see if everybody else is enjoying it. So, Anthony, what do you have to say about the book so far? I know we went over this last week, but after this week's past read, what do you have to say?
It's a good book. It's well written, and I can relate to a lot of it.
Awesome. Mark?
I don't have nothing much else to say. It's a very good book. I like it so far.
Awesome. And Kyle?
Yeah, it's lots of drama with the quarterbacks and stuff, and yeah, it's good.
What are your expectations and hopes, and what do you suggest, and when do you suggest this book to your friends, Kyle?
Yeah.
You would?
I would.
Well, what are your expectations and hopes? What do you hope to see in this book, and what are you looking forward to seeing?
I hope they win the championship, and the main quarterback comes back from injury and wins it for them.
Awesome. What are your expectations, Mark?
Oh, I'm kind of thinking that he'll get caught with the caffeine pills when he gets drafted into college.
That's a very good observation. Anthony, what do you have to say?
I was kind of thinking the same thing with the caffeine pills. He's going to get caught eventually, and he shouldn't be doing it.
Awesome. So amazing job as usual, gentlemen. We have a new game this week. It's called the Mark of the Week on the podcast. Since we are sponsored by Mark's Warehouse, my team will have to guess a famous athlete, active or non-active, by clues and other information. We will let the Plinko board pick the Mark of the Week. And I think it's chosen one. Here we go.
This was headlines on all the sports sections in New York. Mark said, "We will win Game 6.
Kovalev moving in. Kovalev to score! They tied the game! Mark Leach drops it. Kovalev again. Saved run to a rebound. Score! Mark gets his second goal for the empty net. Mark, do you believe it? Do you believe it? He said we will win Game 6. He has just picked up the hat trick.
Awesome. So I heard Mark LaBelle sort of the answer. I don't know if did he get it right? Kyle Franson, what do you have to say? Who do you think that was?
It's Mark Messier.
So we have our winners for the week. It was Mark Messier from the New York Rangers in 1994 after that mega promise to win that Game 7. So that is the Mark of the Week. That's another week on the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We're looking forward to doing another one next week. Who are you guys cheering for in the Super Bowl? As this is a football-related book.
Ravens.
Ravens. What about you guys?
Ravens, definitely.
Yeah, personally, I'm cheering for the 49ers. I'd like to see a double championship win after those San Francisco won the World Series in baseball. Anyway, this is thank you for listening to the podcast this week. This is Dane Frizzell, and this is Drew signing off from New Orleans. Go 49ers.
Brought to you by Mark's Never Iron Perfectly Pressed shirts.